encourage sexual situations and violence. It is intended only for mature audiences.
Finally, show with the balls to call it like it is. Rated R Safety Show on Safety FM.
Countdown to audio torture.
The Rated R Safety Show starts in 3, 2, 1.
Let the eardrum pain begin.
Forget the corporate bullshit. This is the Rated R Safety Show with your host, it doesn't matter who the host is.
Oh, you know it to be true. Oh, yes, my friends. You know it, you know it, you know it. We are here today on this lovely Friday to get things rolling and bowling and all that kind of fun stuff that we do around here. Anyways, today's Friday, August the 12th of 2022, day 224 of the year, and only 141 days remaining before the end of this shit show. So there you go. So that's important to talk about right away. By the way, I had to flip all kinds of stuff real quick on my Telly over here because it is jacking with the board. Yeah, don't worry. Don't worry about it, because I know the next question is going to be like, what do you mean that it's jacking with the board? Well, what ends up taking place is the way that they link together, so sorry about that. We are broadcasting live from the Safety FM studios in Orlando, Florida, and coming across the multiverse known as Safety FM, and then we are hanging out with our friends and colleagues at that other place that we do stuff at.
Radio Big.
Yep, RadioBig.fm is where we do the bulk of the stuff on the music side of the house. So there you go. Even though some people were kind of concerned that I got a little musical on our Tuesday show, specifically the Jay Allen show, it's okay. Life will go on, dear John, as life is fine as we are doing things. So if you're not familiar with how this thing works, let's kind of go through the liners and the stuff that we need to go through. We talk about safety and the news and safety, but today is Freeform Friday, so I never know what the hell I'm going to do on a Friday. I just know that I show up, I do the things that are here, and then we kind of go from there. With it being Freeform Friday, let me tell you a couple of different things real quick. Number one, the main thing here is that when it's Freeform Friday, you can tell us to do whatever the hell you want, and we can kind of make a determination on what we need to do. By doing that, all you have to do is go to callinradio.com to get that moving and grooving. Also, if you want to take a look-see at what the hell we're doing, you can do that by going to safetyfm.com and clicking on visual radio. But I encourage people not to go through that kind of torture, but if that's something that you're into, knock yourself out. That's the way that it goes. The call-in radio aspect to tell us what to do is pretty simple. You have 3 options once you get to the website on exactly what needs to be done to stay in connection with us. And there are some that are simpler than others. So let's start talking right away about what was trending. And boy, was there some big trending yesterday. So take a listen to this. Tommy Lee landed in Twitter's top 10 trends on Thursday. And people go, well, why did Tommy Lee end up in Twitter's top 10 trends? Well, if you want to know, let's talk about it right away. Tommy Lee posted a fully frontal nude pic on Instagram that left nothing to the imagination early Thursday. Oops, he captioned on the snapshot. The photo was swiftly removed by the platform that has a strict no nudity clause. But before it was deleted, more than 1.4 million followers got a peek of what was going on. Several commented posts, included Lee's wife, Brittany, who wrote, "Oh my God." If you were curious about the image, several screenshots have been taken their way to Twitter. So if you want to go see what you haven't seen in some time, you're more than welcome on doing so. But if you watch the Pam and Lee and Tommy tape from many, many years ago, you kind of already know what's going on there. Anyways, with that being said, let's continue talking about what else was trending. MLB fans reacted to the news that there will no longer be a no game played at the Field of Dreams complex next year. So if you're into that, figure it out. Kevin Federline was trending yesterday after sharing some clips of Britney Spears yelling at their sons. If you would care about that. And then Cincinnati, I mean, I don't know about that portion. I guess we would have to figure out what the hell they were yelling about, because that's a whole other thing. Because if I would imagine as a parent, or at least most parents, have yelled at their child at some point or another, so taking it out of context might be a little bit difficult. Anyway, Cincinnati was trending on Thursday after an armed gunman tried to get into a FBI Cincinnati's office. Yeah, we'll talk a little bit more about that here in a bit. And then Trump 24 slogans entered the top 10 yesterday. Tweets included, when the going gets tough, the tough takes the fifth. Love the climb, elect the Don, episode 3, the revenge of the fifth, and 4 more years. And I'll take the fifth. We're all on the stuff that was trending when they were talking about the Trump of the Don. So there you go. Some stuff going on right there as we are speaking. So like I said earlier, we'll be going all over the place as we're doing it here today on this lovely Friday, which we normally refer to as Freeform Friday. So with that being said, where do we want to go first? Do we just want to jump directly into the news, or do we want to take a look-see-ooksy at some other things? I never know what to do. It's always one of those things that I go, if someone can just determine on what they want, we could go from there. I mean, it would be an interesting thing to do, that is for sure. Anyways, I guess with that being said, let's just jump directly into the news, because we probably have somebody waiting at the desk to tell us what the hell's going on.
Here is the news on the Rated R Safety Show.
NBC News Radio, I'm Michael Kastner. Former President Trump is encouraging the release of documents related to the FBI search of his Mar-a-Lago estate. In a statement on his Truth social media company, Trump called Monday's raid of his home un-American, unwarranted, and unnecessary. U.S. Attorney General Merrick Garland announced on Thursday the Justice Department had filed a motion to unseal the warrant and other related materials.
The search warrant was authorized by a federal court upon the required finding of probable cause.
Garland confirmed that he personally approved the decision to seek the warrant, which he emphasized the DOJ doesn't take lightly. He noted all Americans, including former presidents, are subject to the same laws. Garland also addressed attacks on the Justice Department agents and prosecutors after the Palm Beach raid and an attempted breach of an FBI field office in Cincinnati. He praised DOJ employees as dedicated, patriotic public servants. The man who died after trying to break into Cincinnati's FBI headquarters allegedly posted his intentions on Trump's Truth Social. Brian Shook reports.
Multiple outlets have identified the suspect as Ricky Schiffer, who allegedly fired a nail gun at law enforcement before brandishing an AR-15 style rifle and leading police on a chase that resulted in an hours-long standoff and his death. In recent days, an account appearing to belong to Schiffer posted that if no one hears from him, it's because he tried attacking the FBI. His account also posted a call to arms to people telling them to buy guns immediately and be ready for combat, and called for killing FBI agents on site. I'm Brian Shook.
Ukraine and Russia are pointing fingers at each other over Thursday's shelling of the biggest nuclear power plant in Europe. UN Secretary General Antonio Guterres called for an end to military activity near the plant in southern Ukraine. Russian forces seized the plant in March. Michael Kastner, NBC News Radio.
More sarcasm than a Mortal Kombat beatdown. Rated R Safety Show.
The CDC is streamlining its COVID-19 guidance heading into the fall, adjusting recommendations for how the public should approach masking, exposure, and testing. Senior medical correspondent Dr. John Torres explains the recent evolution.
The last guidelines we had for school were back in May, so we're talking 3 months later. And in pandemic time, that's a long period of time. We have a lot of things that have changed since then, particularly, the BA5 variant is out here. It's turned out to be a fairly stable variant that we know is happening.
The relaxed guidance credits advancements like vaccinations, boosters, and treatments since the start of the pandemic that have lowered the risk of severe illness even as the virus continues to circulate. While it applies to all Americans, the update comes as many students return to school. A full list of guidelines and information can be found on the CDC's website. A representative for actress Anne Heche says she suffered a severe brain injury and is not expected to live. Heish was involved in a car accident last Friday where she crashed into a Los Angeles home before her car burst into flames. She was severely burned and taken to the hospital where she's been in a coma since. She's being kept on life support to determine if any of her organs are viable for donation. Police determined the actress had cocaine and fentanyl in her system at the time of the crash. The search for a missing New Hampshire girl is now a homicide investigation. New Hampshire Attorney General John Formella announced Thursday that investigators believe Harmony Montgomery was murdered in early December 2019 when she was 5 years old.
While Harmony's remains have not yet been located, we do have multiple sources of investigative information, including just recently confirmed biological evidence that have led us to this difficult and tragic conclusion.
It's believed Harmony disappeared between November and December of 2019, but police didn't learn that she was missing for over 2 years. And AAA reports a national average for a gallon of regular gas fell another 2 cents from yesterday, down to $3.97. I'm Michael Kastner.
This show is almost as enjoyable as hearing the sound of the toilet flush. Rated R Safety Show on Safety FM.
It's always amazing to me on how technology changes, and so does the environment that we're in. And cyber criminals will do everything they can to take advantage of a system. If you don't own a home, you have nothing to fear about what I'm about to tell you. But if you own a home like me and you don't guard it with Home Title Lock, you're inviting home title fraud. One of the fastest growing crimes. Cyber thieves around the world know our home values are sky high at the moment, and that makes us a target. The crime is scary simple. Let me explain it to you real quick. A cyber thief simply forges your name on a property sale form and refiles it. That's it. Now he or she is on the deed of your home and you have no idea that you're a victim. Then the person takes out a loan on your home and vanishes, leaving you to prove to the police that you didn't commit bank fraud. Home Title Locks puts a virtual barrier around your home title. The instant they detect any kind of tampering or anybody messing around, they help shut it down. Look, if you have equity in your home, you need to guard it the best way that you can. Some people might even go as far as guarding it with their life. Go to HometitleLock.com and register your address to see if you already are a victim. And enter the code RADIO. That's RADIO. That's the code RADIO for 30 days free of protection. That's code RADIO at HometitleLock.com. Have you ever wanted to start live streaming and were not sure how to do it? You can start live streaming up to 40 social media platforms all at one time for as little as nada. It's going to cost you your time. That is what it's going to cost. You can pre-record, you can live stream, you can do a multitude of things. To find out more information, all you have to do is go to safetyfm.com/one. That's safetyfm.com, ONE.
Attention business owners, are you receiving all the employee tax credits you have coming to you? A tax refund program provided for by the CARES Act of 2020 could be worth thousands. Employee retention tax credits, or ERTCs, are a fully refundable payroll tax. You may be eligible for up to $26,000 per employee per quarter. At Lifetime Advisors, we have a team of experts dedicated to the ERTC program. We work with businesses of all sizes, both big and small, to claim the money that they're entitled to. It's your money, and we can help you get it. Call Lifetime Advisors today at 1-877-851-0005. We'll send you a short questionnaire to see if you qualify. There is no obligation, but this is a limited time program. Don't miss out. Call 1-877-851-0005. That's 1-877-851-0005 to get the ERTC money you have coming to you. Lifetime Advisors.
We all want to make sure that our family is protected in medical emergencies. What many of us don't realize is that health insurance won't always cover the full amount of an emergency medical flight. Even with comprehensive coverage, you could get hit with high deductibles and copays. That's why an Air Medcare Network membership is so important. As a member, if an emergency arises, you won't see a bill for air medical transport when flown by an AMCN provider. Best of all, a membership covers your entire household for as little as $85 a year. AMC and providers are called upon to transport nearly 100,000 patients a year. This is coverage no family should go without. Now, as a Jay Allen Show listener, you'll get up to a $50 e-gift card with a new membership. Simply visit airmedcarenetwork.com/safety and use the offer code SAFETY. And don't forget to tell them that Jay Allen sent you. The WorkWise Summit is an interactive two-day gathering that will bring like-hearted leaders together like never before as we discuss ways to better align HR, safety, and operations around one common goal: creating the future of work together. Day one will focus on self-performance with talks with leading experts on how to live and lead at our best. Day two will focus on organizational performance with discussions on what we can do together to break down silos and foster action. The Work Summit will take place at Coker Tire Museum in Chattanooga, Tennessee on Thursday, September the 22nd and Friday, September the 23rd. For more information, go to workzbe.com/Y Summits. That's WORKZBE.com. Y Summit.
You are listening to something magical. You're listening to the Rated R Safety Show.
Okay, take a listen because you might be excited for this, but it's over. Yes, it's over. The CDC has ended its guidance that people should stay 6 feet apart and quarantine if they come in contact with someone who has COVID. In case you were waiting for Big Brother to tell you it's okay to live your life, well, it's okay to live your life. So there you go. Some information right there as we are talking. Anyway, shortly after Russia invaded Ukraine, McDonald's sold off its stores in Russia and shut down operations in Ukraine, closing about 109 restaurants now. Now McDonald's is beginning the process to reopen in Ukraine, according to Reuters. Reps for the company said that they have consulted with vendors and security specialists and also considered employees' desires to get back to work. No word yet on how many will get to reopen, but the company is starting in the western part of the country and has been relatively more protected from Russia's invasion. So there you go. If you're craving your McDonald's and this is the end-all be-all, this would be the thing to talk about as we are going through it today. So there you go. If you need your little Mickey D's, there you go. And if you're in the Ukraine. So let's continue talking about some other things as we are hanging and banging and doing all of the cool stuff that we get to do here. Anyways, Google is calling on Apple to update its technology to make messages between Android and iOS devices more seamless. iPhone users are well aware that text and media from non-iPhone contacts are displayed on green, not blue background, and the media such as photos are linked and are garbled and harder to access. Android has even launched a whole campaign to pressure Apple to update its technology, including a website that outlines the issues. Meanwhile, the iOS update that Apple products will reportedly include a feature that allows users to unsend text messages, but only when they're sent on other Apple users and up-to-date software. Senders will have 2 minutes to delete the message from their own device and the recipient. So let's take a listen to that. So let's say, for instance, you're doing the drunk texting and saying, I just want to make sure that I reference that I'm outside of that age demo. But you're only going to have 2 minutes to delete that bad boy and remember what the hell you wrote. So I wonder what kind of stuff you're going to get text message-wise that people are going to be like, okay, I deleted it, and going from there. And I just wonder, I want to have a better understanding, am I going to be able to see the unedited or undeleted crap before it gets deleted? It's just a question, of course. Anyways, a freak accident injured 34 people on the Fire Dragon ride at Legoland in Germany on Thursday. 2 trains on the track collided at the boarding station, but investigations are still trying to figure out what went wrong. This is weird. Last week, a 57-year-old woman fell off of a roller coaster in Germany and died. So there you go. A lot of stuff going on inside of those theme parks over there. Just talking about it. And here's the gig. I don't get me wrong. I like theme parks and everything, but I always kind of go, is the thrill worth it in doing so? Because, you're putting a lot of things on the line here. just to get over to get your little chili illies as we are talking. So anyways, let's continue talking about some other things. Officials at London Heathrow Airport say summer travel is starting to stabilize. Please tell me what that means. After a week in which they asked airlines not to book last-minute tickets, airport staff at one of the world's busiest say the security screeners are back to pre-pandemic levels, and 88% of travelers get through in about 20 minutes. 20 minutes. I'll have to tell you, I travel out of the good old Orlando airport. I could probably make it through the whole thing, saying things are good. Probably in less than 5 minutes, but then again, I have some weird stuff on how I get the hell out of here. But I don't know if you're familiar with this plan called Clear, but I mean, I'll tell you, and this is not paid for or anything like that. That thing will get you straight through. I mean, you scan in and just go boom, and it's a straight through thing. I love it. I mean, it's one of my favorite things to use when I'm traveling. If I don't have it at the airport that I'm going to, or if the airport that I'm leaving out of doesn't have it once I get to my destination, it's not as quick, but, it's one of those things. Oh, first world problems, I know. Anyways, let's continue talking. I think it's time to bring in some John Smalls and let him tell us what's going on inside of the Market Beat.
Here's your Market Beat Minute for Friday, August 12th. 2022. Equities tried to advance for a second day following the better-than-expected CPI data, but the move was without momentum and left the index relatively flat at the end of the day. The move gives evidence that the rally in stocks is nothing more than a bear market rally, but leaves another question unanswered. Assuming the market is a bear market rally, the question is how long will it last and what will put an end to it? The best answer is a few more weeks to a month or so. The market still has faith in the peak inflation theory and will be tested during that time. Not only will there be another read on the CPI index, but 2 more reads of the PCE price index, and all 3 should confirm lingering high levels of inflation. The takeaway is the FOMC is going to hike rates by an aggressive pace in September, and it could be another hot 75 basis point increase. Next week, a read on retail sales will be the focus for traders. You can get the inside track from Wall Street's brightest minds delivered directly to your inbox every day at marketbeatminute.com.
Okay, thank you very much, Johnny Smalls, for that one, letting us know exactly what is going on there. Let me tell you a little bit more about what we found. The Dow added about 27 points on Thursday to close 33,336. The S&P lost about 2.97 points to close at 4,207, while the NASDAQ lost about 74 points to close at 12,779. West Texas Intermediate ticked up about $94 a barrel. Brent crude was approaching about $100 a barrel. The national average price of a gallon of gas is now at $3.99. Bitcoin was up to $110 on Thursday, trading at just north of $24,000 right there. Anyway, there were about 3,960 flights delayed within 2 out of the United States and about 714 cancellation. So now you know what is going on. Anyways, if you're not doing much this weekend and you're looking at some things to do, I got some news for you real quick of regards of what is going to be on the video on demand services. New to Amazon Prime is Cosmic Love. New to Disney Plus is Father of the Bride and Father of the Bride 2. And new to Netflix is 13th the Musical and Day Shift. So there you go. Some stuff to think about, some stuff to listen to, and all that kind of fun stuff. Anyways, take a listen to this minute drop real quick, and we're going to move on from here. Take a listen.
Your Wellness Minute is brought to you by AlessaMorgan.com. There are several things you can do to optimize your workspace and maximize productivity. And the following 2 things are the easiest adjustments to consider for better alertness. First, it's important to make sure our visual focus is aligned correctly. The way it works, when we look up, we don't just trigger the neurons to execute the movement of looking up, we also trigger them for more alertness and focus. So if you're looking to maintain the maximum amount of focus, it's important to have your screen positioned slightly above the eye level instead of below like most of us do with our laptops. It's also helpful to have as much bright light as safely possible, especially within the first 8 hours after waking up, to maintain activity with dopamine, norepinephrine, epinephrine, and healthy levels of cortisol. For more tips on wellness, check out AlessaMorgan.com.
Okay, thank you very much for that one as we are doing our gig here and talking and moving and all that kind of fun stuff, because that's always going to be important. So there you go. Let's try something real quick. So let's see how this goes. We never know.
Hello?
Hey, you are live on the air. How are you? Are you okay to move forward?
Yes.
Okay, cool. So I'm calling you because, listen, we know that daily you drop some knowledge bombs here about what's going on with health and wellness. By the way, this is Morgan on the line. So tell us where you're getting all this stuff, because we get to hear it 5 days a week. So tell us some more, because I'm always excited to see what the hell's going on out there, and you're constantly giving us information, and I swear that we don't have you enough live on this thing, and I know you get all nervousy when we do it anyway, so I figured I'll just call, and if you answer, good luck. If you don't, so then we kind of go from there. So tell us, how do you come up with all this, and how are you living your life with this?
Oh, thank you so much. Thank you so much for kind words, and thank you for allowing me to be on your show. I love this, and to answer your question, there are several wellness experts. Most of them are doctors. One of them is Dr. Andrew Huberman. He's actually a professor in Stanford, and he specializes in neurobiology. So, for example, the drop that you did just now about workspace optimization, this came directly from him. He studies brain, neurons, dopamine, and he shares a wealth of knowledge on extremely exciting stuff. A lot of other drops that I get, so they're mostly from doctors. They're about latest research. They're from analyzing a plethora of research and medical studies. So I'm really just trying to look for the most, the easiest bits that are very easy to follow, but also tremendously backed by science.
Well, look at you trying to go all radio talk with drops and bits. That's interesting. Now, so there you go. So if people want to find out more about what you're doing or have an interaction with you, what do they need to do to be able to do so?
Absolutely. The easiest way is simply go to AlessaMorgan.com, and Alessa is spelled as Alessa. And that is where the updates on wellness are, and that's where they can contact me directly. And thank you so much.
Okay, well, thank you very much. Have a great rest of your morning. Now we know where the knowledge bombs are being dropped from. So if you want to find out, go ahead and contact her via her website. So there you go. That's what's going on that neck of the woods. So thanks for that tidbit of información. Anyways, let's continue talking about some other things that are going on inside of this particular world as we are discussing things that are going on inside of the world of the news. I'll reference this real quick. You're probably not going to see tons of headlines about it, but I'll talk about it anyway. It looks like Howard Stern's father, Ray Stern, at the age of 99, has passed away. No cause of death has been given. Our thoughts and prayers are with the Stern family. Listen, I'm going to tell you this, and I know that, not everybody's going to agree with me, and that's okay. Howard Stern is the best to ever do it and will always have a huge influence on the radio in regards on how he has changed everything in that particular regards. And a lot of his love for the radio came from the relationship that he had with his father being a radio engineer. So there you go. Anyways, let's continue talking a little bit more about some other things that are going on inside of this world real quick. NYPD arrests a man who allegedly slashed tires on dozens of vehicles. D. Laserman is accused of punctuating about over 40 tires in 27 different cars on Bayside during the early morning hours of August the 7th. One woman had to replace her tires twice.
I bought a warranty on the tires, so if it happens again, I don't have to pay. I'm paranoid now.
I have to double check that warranty. Most of those warranties don't cover things like that. Anyways, the cars parked around 42nd Avenue between 213th Street and Corporal Kennedy Street. The Queens DA says that the total damage was more than $13,000 worth of damages. So there you go. Anyways, let's continue talking about some other stuff that is happening right now. President Biden is planning to launch a re-election bid. Michael Kastner has more info.
That's according to a report report from Bloomberg that cites multiple aides and allies. Longtime aide Anita Dunn told Bloomberg the president said he's planning on running again. She added people should take him at his word. Biden will reportedly announce his re-election campaign in the months following November's midterm elections. Biden allies also pointed to accelerated coordination with the Democratic National Committee as the most public sign yet that the president is planning to run again. I'm Michael Kastner.
Okay, thank you, Michael Kastner, for that one, letting us know what is going on there. Anyways, Taiwan is blaming political consideration for the cancellation of World Pride 2025 Taiwan. Michael Kastner has more info.
This comes after officials say organizers from the LGBTQ rights group Interpride suddenly insisted the word Taiwan be removed from the title. The island participates in global events like the Olympics as Chinese Taipei to avoid political problems with China, which views the democratically governed island as its own territory. Taiwan's foreign minister says the event would have been the first World Pride event to be held in East Asia. It stated not only does the decision disrespect Taiwan's rights and diligent efforts, it also harms Asia's vast LGBTQ plus community and runs counter to the progressive principles espoused by Interpride. I'm Michael Kastner.
Okay, thank you, Michael Kastner, for that one, letting us know exactly what is going on inside of the world right there. Take a listen to this real quick, because I think that this is going to be important. Mistrial declared in Flint, Michigan over the water crisis civil trial. The judge has declared a mistrial in Flint, Michigan in the trial, and this because the jury could not reach a unanimous verdict. Trey Thomas has more info.
After weeks of deliberations, the jury sent the judge a note Thursday saying further deliberations will only result in stress and anxiety. 4 people who were children when the crisis of lead in the city's water began in 2014 are suing. The suit argues that lead-contaminated water resulted in developmental and social issues for the plaintiffs, who are seeking millions of dollars in damages. I'm Trey Thomas.
Okay, thank you, Trey, for that one. Let's get you some more news from the desk right now on wrong show, Rated R Safety Show. Seriously.
From Feature Story News in London, I'm Chris Jones. Europe's biggest nuclear power plant located in Ukraine has come under fire yet again. The site in Zaporizhia was hit 10 times according to authorities, with both Ukraine and Russia blaming each other. The United Nations Secretary General Antonio Guterres says continued fighting around the plant could lead to a disaster, with many nations calling for a demilitarized zone around the location. Meanwhile, across Europe, disasters brought about by intense heat continue. France is in its 4th heatwave, and across the English Channel, a drought could soon be declared in parts of England. Julia Chapman reports.
The UK's National Drought Group will meet on Friday to discuss action that needs to be taken. Meanwhile, temperatures in the south of the country are forecast to reach 35 degrees Celsius. A 4-day extreme heat warning is in place. The dry conditions are impacting water levels and drying up soil, bringing with them a risk of wildfires. Farmland is also expected to produce lower yields as a result of the weather. 5 water companies in England and Wales have already introduced hosepipe bans to curb excess water use.
There has been record drops in population numbers in parts of Asia. There are 700,000 fewer citizens in Japan now compared to a year ago, and in Hong Kong there has been a record drop too, as Richard Kimber reports.
More than 120,000 residents have left Hong Kong since June last year, leaving the population at just under 7.3 million. That's a drop of 1.6%, the biggest in 60 years and the 3rd straight year of declines. Population analysts say the government's strict COVID-19 rules are causing many to leave, with still no clear roadmap in sight for quarantine-free travel in and out of the city. Ongoing political concerns over the wide-reaching national security law is also another factor. The birth rate has also slumped, with almost twice as many deaths as births in the past 12 months. Economists say many of those leaving are young, skilled graduates, and that the government needs to address the issue to prevent a brain drain.
And the sister of Kim Jong-un has revealed that the North Korean leader suffered from a high fever during the country's recent COVID-19 outbreak. Patrick Falk reports.
In a speech, Kim Yo-jong said her brother was seriously ill and had suffered from high fever, according to North Korean state media. She added that Kim Jong-un couldn't lie down for a moment because of his concern for the people. Kim Yo-jong also blamed South Korean propaganda leaflets for spreading the virus and lashed out at, quote, South Korea puppets for sending dirty objects across the border carried by balloons. Kim Jong-un's health is a source of regular speculation. Overweight and a smoker, his appearances attract for insights about the regime and possible signs of instability in North Korea. His family has a history of heart disease.
From bureaus worldwide, this is FSN.
Listen to our host of the Rated R Safety Show. Self-implode on our airwaves, only on Safety FM.
Well, you might be like me and heard all these terms and were not 100% sure on what they meant. Things as mining, blockchain, the Internet of Things. Well, I will tell you, we here at Safety FM have partnered up with a company that will explain this to you and will also have conversations to inform you on how you might have the potential of making passive income by being involved with this. All you need to do is go to safetyfm.com/iHub. They'll discuss blockchain. What exactly is mining? What is cryptocurrency? And what is the Internet of Things? To find out more information, go to safetyfm.com/iHub. That's safetyfm.com/iHub. And don't forget to mention that Jay Allen sent you. Do you have a claim and not sure where to turn? Coastal Claim Consultants are professionally licensed and bonded public insurance adjusters employed exclusively by you, the policyholder, to represent you after sustaining an insured loss. They assist policyholders in all aspects of processing the claim, working closely with the insured to provide the most equitable and timely settlement possible. They will provide you with comprehensive service, anything from inspecting the loss site, analyzing damages, compiling claim support data, reviewing applicable coverages, assessing replacement costs of damages, and negotiating your settlement. The adjusters at Coastal Claim Consultants will evaluate your claim for no upfront cost whatsoever. Coastal Claim Consultants' fee is based on contingency contracts and are paid when the insurance company sends you a check and it's in your possession. Coastal Claim Consultants are licensed to assist you in the following states: Florida, Texas, Oklahoma, Georgia, and South Carolina. For more information, go to coastal-cc.com. That's coastal-cc.com. For more information, lighting the way to recovery. Coastal Claim Consultants.
Is your safety training old, stale, and hacked? Is your safety trainer still preaching a warped version of behavior-based safety? How about safety training that actually addresses your hazards in your workplaces and is not standardized baloney from 25 years ago? Contact the Safety Wars team at safetywars.com or call Jim Posel at 845-269-5772. Remember, if you're receiving this message, you are the solution to unsafe workplaces.
Okay, there you go. Currently 39 minutes past the top of the hour. This is Gatekeeper by Tori Wolf. Songs readily available on Spotify and iTunes, just in case if you're wondering. Some stuff to think about. I would say give this one a downloady-eaty. Yep. Thanks to Tori Wolf for allowing us to play Gatekeeper here on the Rated R Safety Show. This is not the first time that she's contributed to the show. I like the voice, I mean, for sure, in regards on how this goes. Okay, so there you go. Thank you for that one. Anyways, let's get into the most important thing that I will tell you in my lifetime, and that's about my friends at 9888 Suicide and Crisis Lifeline. Let me tell you what they do. The Suicide and Crisis Lifeline is a national network of local crisis centers that provide free and confidential and emotional support to people in suicidal crisis and emotional distress 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. They're committed to improving crisis services and advancing suicide prevention by empowering individual and advancing professionals with best practices about what is going on and how to build awareness. To find out more information, all you have to do is call 988. Yes, that's it, 988. If you're here in the United States, or you can go to the website at 9888lifeline.org. That's 9888lifeline.org, or text the word TALK to 988. So there you go. Anyways, let's try something else this morning real quick. Just doing some stuff. Let's give this a whirl and see what happens with this one. Da-da-da-da. You know, early call.
Hello, Jay.
Hello, sir. Jim Polzel, you're on the air. Are you fine with that?
I am fine with that.
Okay, I told you. You said I've been trying to reach you. So now we're here together. What's going on, my friend from, let's see, Safety Wars? What is going on in your world?
Oh, we're going on, we're right in the middle of polio, which is about a mile away from my house. We covered that this week and last week on Safety Wars. We also, I think I mentioned this to you, one of the managers for this, the county executive, is a listener of Safety Wars. And he was using some of our phrases that we use on this. Specifically, when you're faced with an emergency or when communicating an emergency, and I got this from Todd Conklin. No, you want to tell people what you know, number one, number two, what you don't know, number three, what you're going to do about it. And that was almost a direct quote from us. So we're having some impact here on Safety FM and doing what we're doing. Unfortunately, the person with polio ended up paralyzed. It came out in the news this week. So to what extent, I don't know, but it was not a good outcome. And essentially, it was not what they call an endemic case of polio, where it originated in the United States. It came from outside the United States.
So let me ask the question real quick. Why have you decided to take this on as your passion project in regards to taking these deep dives in regards to polio?
Everyone's talking about it in my community here, and it's made the national news several times.
Right.
In the last week and a half or 2 weeks. And now there's a little bit of a panic in this area with that. They've had polio clinics. And in my opinion, with the community that it happened in, it's a very insulated community here, Hasidic Jews. Very insulated community. There's several of those communities on the East Coast. And a lot of their people are not vaccinated, number one. And number two, as we know with the COVID stuff, what we've gone through for what's it been now, Jay, 2 years? Coming up on 2 years?
At least.
I don't know. We were one of the ground zeros for the COVID situation. And also, that's basically it. And I see that there may be a nationwide push on that, and I'd like to be at the forefront of that nationwide push. And we do know some of the operators here that are managing that. That's in my community and everything else. So, for example, the county executive who's taken this issue on, his grandson lives 2 doors away from me. So we see him on a somewhat regular basis, and we're active in the community also. So we run into each other.
Okay, so one more thing. So if people want to find out the days that you drop the new podcast version of Safety Wars, what days are they in particular, or normal?
Normally Tuesday and Thursday. This week situation arose where I couldn't do that. So, and I wanted to let me add this. I want to thank everybody for the condolences for my father who recently passed away. I received several messages from listeners and customers and everything else. So I've been, like a lot of times when you have these situations happen, you end up having to manage them constantly. So, and I've been on a dive job in New York where we're redoing an effluent plant in New York City. And I've been one of the supervisors on the diving aspect of that, where we've had to send divers out. I think I sent you a few photos.
Yeah, you did.
Pretty cool.
So last but not least, thanks for coming on, talking about this real quick. And by the way, if you do talk or see Jim, make sure to pressure him. We've been talking for almost 7 months now on getting him live on these airwaves, and he still has not done so. So put the pressure on him. Thanks, Jim. Have a good one. Anyway, so let's continue talking a little bit about what is going on inside of this particular world, because there's a lot of stuff going on and we have very little time to cover everything that is going on. Anyways, with that being said, body cam footage is out from an arrest of a former NFL star, Marshawn Lynch, in Las Vegas earlier this week. Trey Thomas has some more information.
Police say Lynch was asleep and smelled of alcohol when they found him in his damaged sports car. The video shows officers pulling him from the car and placing him in handcuffs. TMZ reported Lynch was pulled over Tuesday morning after he was seen driving into curbs on the side of the road. The former Seahawk and Raider is accused of DUI, failure to surrender proof of security, driving an unregistered vehicle, and failure to drive in the travel lane. I'm Trey Thomas.
Okay, thank you, Trey, for letting us know that information right there. It is currently 47 minutes past the top of the hour. Let's do a couple of things right quick because it is Friday and it's uncanny for us to do this. Let's talk about today in politics.
Classified documents relating to nuclear weapons are allegedly among the items the FBI sought in its search of former President Trump's Florida home this week. The House is expected to pass the Senate-approved Inflation Reduction Act today. The bill is designed to fight climate change, extend health care coverage, and put hundreds of billions of dollars towards deficit reduction. The Biden administration is reportedly shelving any immediate plans to scrap Trump-era tariffs on Chinese goods. The change comes following House Speaker Nancy Pelosi's controversial visit to Taiwan. Secretary of the Treasury Janet Yellen is issuing an order on potential new funding for the IRS. She wrote to the IRS commissioner and said new funds should not be used to pursue more audits against small businesses or those making under $400,000. That's politics. Trey Thomas, NBC News Radio.
Okay, thank you, Trey Thomas, for that one. Let's talk about this because we talked about it earlier in the week. A Fulton County, Georgia murder suspect is back behind bars after complaining about cold French fries. Trey Thomas has more info.
Police were called to a McDonald's on Cobb Parkway where the manager and Antoine Sims argued over the fast food staple. Sims fled to a nearby apartment complex after an officer ran his ID and found he was wanted for a 2018 homicide, but didn't appear in court this summer. He was arrested again and taken back to jail. I'm Trey Thomas.
Okay, thank you, Trey Thomas, for letting us know that tidbit of information. Let's get moving and grooving and talk about the Motivation Minute.
The Motivation Minute is courtesy of InsuranceChicken.com. Today's quote was submitted by Margot. Stephen Covey said, "Unless you're continually improving your skills, you're quickly becoming irrelevant." I agree. I remember talking to a guy who said his business was going with the flow. I reminded him that the flow is always going downhill. Be careful not to fall into that trap, doing what everyone else is doing just because they're doing it. If it's the right thing for you, then do it by all means, but don't make your plans based on what others are doing. They're not you, you're not them. Be yourself and do what you need to do to be more successful. Sometimes that means putting in extra work, but it's worth it. This has been today's Motivation Minute, courtesy of InsuranceChicken.com. They're known for insurance quotes. I'm John Small. Thanks for listening. Your favorite motivational quotes can be submitted for upcoming programs at motivationminute.org.
Hello, I'm Richard Exley with your 1-minute devotion. If you want a life blessed by the Lord, Peter commands us to search for peace and work to maintain it. Jesus said, "Blessed are the peacemakers, for they will be called the sons of God." Peacemakers realize that relationships are more important than being right, and willingly choose to maintain peace rather than stir up dissension by arguing. Proverbs 6 says that there are 7 things the Lord hates, and one of them is a man who stirs up dissension among brothers. Proverbs 15 says, a hot-tempered man stirs up dissension, but a patient man calms a quarrel. Proverbs 11 says, but a man of understanding holds his tongue. Lord, help us to be peacemakers. Amen. If these devotions are a blessing and an encouragement to you, you can subscribe at oneminutedevotion.com.
We at Safety FM are not responsible for what this idiot behind the microphone is saying. He is trying to be entertaining. Rated R Safety Show.
Oh, there you go. Rated R Safety Show. Anyways, let's talk about some movies that are coming out today. There is Fall rated PG for best friends Becky and Hunter. Life is about conquering fears and pushing the limits. There you go. Mac and Rita, a 30-year-old writer, spends a wild weekend in Palm Springs and wakes up to find that she has magically transformed into a 70-year-old self. There you go there. And Emily the Criminal. So let's take a look. Is saddled with a student with debt and looked out for a job to market to do a minor criminal record. So there you go. So there you go. Some movies if you're interested in all that kind of stuff. Anyways, tourism. Yeah, take a listen to this. You've heard about adventure tourism. Well, tourism can't get much more adventurous than this. The online platform Visit Ukraine today is selling guided day tours of the country's so-called brave cities that have defied and continue to resist Russian invaders, offering travelers a look on how the country is living amid the conflict. The company's website invites would-be visitors to set off on a journey of awesome Ukraine right now. Those who sign up can expect walks among bomb debris, ruined buildings, cathedrals, and stadiums, as well as burned-out military hardware, plus a regular whale of air red sirens. Despite international alerts of warning against travels to the Ukraine, the company says that it has so far sold 150 tickets, and its website is offering information on safely traveling to and from the country, and it is getting about 1.5 million hits a month. By the way, encountering landmines is also a risk. Hello. So encouraging a leaky nuclear plant apparently is something else that they're doing. And if you're really lucky, you'll get the chance to sell a gallon of gas to the crew of Russian tank. I mean, so there you go. I mean, what a deal of a lifetime to go out there and do that. What do you think?
Oops. What did he just say?
We at Safety FM don't always agree with viewpoints of our hosts and guests.
Now back to real safety talk on Safety FM.
Okay, so let's talk about Did You Know? If you think a salespeople can be pushy, rude, and obnoxious, it turns out that you just might be right. Because a new study has found that these jobs attract people with dark personalities. Researchers from a group of U.S. universities conducted 2 studies to analyze how negative traits affect salespeople. Those traits include narcissism and not psychotherapy, but just kind of being a little psycho itself, which is collectively from the dark triad. Outside of the CEOs, lawyers, and celebrities, salespeople scored higher for these dark traits than any other profession. Just imagine what kind of person it takes to be able to sell something to a CEO, lawyer, or celeb. So there you go. I mean, if you think about it, there are some careers that you have to kind of be a little darky-arky to be able to do that, some of the stuff, or you just have to be, have a lot of issues. To be able to do some. Like I always say to my close group of friends, do you get that have PhDs, of course? Do you get PhDs because you're insecure? I mean, I don't know. It seems that way, at least the people that I know. Sorry, it's kind of truthful. I mean, just don't take it the wrong way. Some people get offended until they kind of figure out that I'm saying it. But there you go. I'm sure you'll live. Everything's fine, dear John. So let's continue talking real quick. Let's see, what do we want to talk about real quick? Let's talk about some things that happened back on this date. Back in 2013, James Whitey Burgle is found guilty on 31 of 32 racketeering and firearm charges. The mob boss is also found to have been involved with 11 murders. His sentencing would take place in November. That happened back on this date. Let's talk about some birthdays that are going on today. Tyson Fury turns 34. Casey Affleck, 47. Yvette Nicole Brown turns 51. Peter Cross turns 57. Sir Mix-a-Lot, yeah, that guy. He turns 59 today. George Hamilton turns 83. And George Soros, yeah, he turns 92 today. So just in case if you're wondering about some of those birthdays. If you're looking at some reasons to celebrate today, well, it's National Vinyl Record Day. National Julian Fries Day, National Middle Child Day. And so there you go. There's some days that you can celebrate if you want to do that inside of your life. Anyways, let's talk about some whack facts real quick. A hippo's stomach is about 10 feet long and can hold about 400 pounds of food. Insects shiver when they're cold. The word hipster goes back to the 1930s when it was used to refer to someone who was in the jazz scene. The longest book title contains 1,809 words you don't want to know. Yeah, there you go. In 2013, Mermaid mockumentary on Animal Planet fooled so many people that the U.S. government had to release a statement explaining that no evidence of aquatic humanoids has ever been found. So there you go. You can go look that up, because I'm sure people will be like, what? And then Gerber once tried to market baby food to adults. So there you go. Talk about that there is a market for everybody. I mean, I don't joke around when I normally say those things, but that kind of goes and proves a portion of what I talk about here from time to time. Anyways, let's talk about this, because this is going on and around and being talked about. Attorney General Merrick Garland is addressing the raid on former President Trump's home in Palm Beach, Florida. Yesterday, he said the Department of Justice is moving to make more information public.
Just now, the Justice Department has filed a motion in the Southern District of Florida to unseal a search warrant and property receipt relating to a court-approved search that the FBI conducted earlier this week.
The Attorney General says that he can't provide further information at this time regarding the basis of the search, but confirmed that it approved the raid, and has been widely reported that the FBI converged at Mar-a-Lago on Monday in search of classified documents that Trump took with him as he left the White House last year. Also, the Attorney General says that President Trump has been aware of what was going to be taking place at his home in Palm Beach.
Copies of both the warrant and the FBI property receipt were provided on the day of the search to the former president's counsel, who was on site during the search.
Garland also addressed the so-called unfounded attacks of professionalism of the FBI and the Justice Department agents, prosecutors.
I will not stand by silently when their integrity is unfairly attacked. The men and women of the FBI and the Justice Department are dedicated, patriotic public servants.
Okay, so there you go. There's some information on what's going on. Anyways, if you need a random joke for today, my body isn't a temple. It's a Catholic church filled with wine, bread, and guilt. If you need a phone starter for today, try this. What's your favorite weekend time waster? If you need a question for the water cooler, try this. According to a poll, avocado toast is the most overrated breakfast food. This came in at number 3. What is it? Bacon, and I think that whoever said that is a liar. So there you go. Anyways, that will end our show for today. Thanks for hanging out on the Rated R Safety Show. Thank you for always being the best part of Safety FM and Radio Big, and that is The Listener. If I can leave you with a deep thought for this weekend, I'd like to leave you with this one. You never regret being kind. Think about it. Enjoy your weekend. I'll see you Monday, unless you're coming over to RadioBig.fm. I know who you are.
Duh.
You know who I am. Love you, mean it, and goodbye.
The views and opinions expressed on this podcast are those of the host and its guest and do not necessarily reflect the official policy or position of the company. Examples of analysis discussed within this podcast are only examples. They should not be utilized in the real world as the only solution available, as they are based only on very limited and dated open source information. Assumptions made within this analysis are not reflective of the position of the company. No part of this podcast may be reproduced, stored in a retrieval system, or transmitted in any form or by any means, mechanical, electronic, recording, or otherwise, without prior written permission of the creator of the podcast, Jay Allen.